Well, the American Board of Obstetrics and Gynecology recently released a statement saying pro-life reproductive care providers may lose their certification because they do not promote abortions. The statement reads in part, quote, misinformation and disinformation about contraception and abortion can create false narratives about essential safe practices in the specialty, adding ABOG will review reports of dissemination of misinformation and disinformation about COVID-19, reproductive health care, contraception, abortion, and other OBGYN practices that may harm the patients we serve or public health. And joining us now to discuss is Donna Harrison, CEO of the American Association of Pro-Life Obstetricians and Gynecologists. Donna, welcome. Thanks so much for coming on. First off, I'd like to get your thoughts on the statement that was published. What do you think?
Well, this is just a naked attempt to try to silence pro-life OBGYNs who want to tell women about the real effects of abortion. And ABOG, the American Association of Pro-Life OBGYNs, has worked tirelessly over the last 50 years to bring out information about what abortion does to women, including the increased risk of preterm birth and increased risk of suicide, drug abuse, and hospitalizable depression, among many other things. So this is very uncomfortable information for ABOG and ACOG, the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, because they're pro-abortion and they make no bones about it. They're rabidly pro-abortion and they don't want this information to be part of patient-informed consent. But we feel strongly that every woman has a right to know what could happen to her body as a real risk after abortion.
Yeah, and Donna, we read through the statement and noticed it really never defined or gave examples of what is considered to be misinformation or disinformation. It seems rather ambiguous. What does that concern you at all?
Well, it's clear that if ABOG came out and clearly said you can't give out information about the effects of abortion on women, that we would hold them to that and we would sue them. And if they say that this has nothing to do with information about abortion and its effects on women, we would also hold them to that. So their best, my best guess of what they're doing is they can't say anything. They can just make this veiled threat to try to intimidate doctors, but we will not be intimidated. We will give accurate, informed consent to our patients, and we will continue to talk about the detrimental effects of abortion on women.
And what type of impact do you think this could have on patients, particularly those who are maybe morally or religiously opposed to abortion?
If ABOG continues with its threat, its veiled threat, and it tries to silence those of us who are giving evidence-based information to our patients, then that will cause the majority of OB-GYNs to cease doing OB-GYN, because you can't practice OB-GYN without board certification, and they know that. So this is the bludgeon that they are using to silence us from giving accurate, informed consent to our patients.
And I know your organization is pushing back. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So we did retain legal counsel along with Christian Medical Dental Association, and we will protect our membership, because what ABOG is doing is not right. It's not right from a medical standpoint. It's not right from a legal standpoint. They are supposed to be accrediting doctors based on their skills and knowledge, not based on whether or not they agree with ABOG's pro-abortion stance. And I think ultimately it will hurt ABOG, but in the meantime, if they do remove the accreditation from doctors, that will hurt the ability of pro-life OB-GYNs to practice, and will also hurt the ability of healthcare systems like the Catholic healthcare system to have physicians that are in line with their ethical directives.
Donna, we probably have less than maybe 30 seconds left or so, but I quickly want to get your thoughts on this. Georgia's Department of Revenue announced earlier this week that unborn children can be considered dependents, and taxpayers can qualify for a $3,000 tax exemption. This after a number of companies announced earlier this summer that they would cover travel expenses for employees that are seeking abortions. I want to get your thoughts on that.
Well, I'm glad that Georgia is recognizing that the human beings in the womb deserve the same kinds of protections and benefits that the human beings outside the womb do. So I just applaud, ABOG applauds Georgia for this foresight this very good piece of legislation.
Well, Donna, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.